Good evening, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And look, I started everything the right way.
Yay.
Got the microphones figured out in the first try.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's amazing. This is what happens when you film stuff yesterday. Just left the setup front. Nothing's changed. Actually, I think I moved the light, but everything else was out from.
Yeah.
We did 2 trailer reactions last night. We did one for The Kingsman.
Yep.
That they dropped during Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
Which was a nice little surprise, which looks amazing.
Yep.
And they dropped one in the morning for BBC One called The War of the Worlds. And we're proceeded to get flamed. I won't say flamed. People are not happy with our calling it a remake of the...
Why? Isn't it a remake?
It's a remake of a remake of a remake of a book of... it's kind of a remake. I mean, it's...
A reimagining.
It's much more like the book, is what everybody's telling me.
Okay.
Which is fine, but that's not where we're coming from in the whole process. We're going to have our own talk, just talk amongst yourselves. We hadn't talked about this yet. But... we did both those trailer reactions. I will tag those at the end so you can make your own decisions on what you want to harass us about.
Sure.
Because it's YouTube and the internet.
Whatever. If that's what they've got to harass me about. Cool.
That's. I'm not upset with any of that. We are going to get into the title of this episode is going to be something about Kevin Feige runs the world. And we will get into that most likely after a break because that will be a longer conversation than we could. And there's some shit that came down this week.
Yeah. We get nothing, everything.
Everything. And it was all Friday. I didn't put this in our version of notes now, but Brandon Roth showing up in the Superman outfit, the Kingdom Come version of Superman, was pretty cool on Friday. And then I saw a video this afternoon of him getting back into Superman shape. And he's as big as Henry Cavill right now.
Really?
He's put that much weight back on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I'm hoping that he comes back around and is able to do that. Play the Super. I really like that Superman. I know it's not the best Superman. Superman Returns is the one that he did, and
I just like Brandon Roth.
Yeah,
I mean he's
he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's just kind of like I'm here. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and he's great on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
and he's his time on that show is coming to an end.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something Superman-y he can do in the future.
Right.
Kind of. Right. Let's do the multiverse of Superman in the next Superman movie. So we can get Henry Cavill and Brandon Roth, and we can get...
You just want him to do a multiverse of...
everything.
Fill in.
Yes.
Spider-Man, Superman.
Yes. We'll get into the
Flash,
Spider-Man stuff. Yeah.
Arrow.
Yeah, Crisis is going to be a crisis of conscience. I'm going to have to watch it 6 times just while the characters are going to be on it. All right, let's get into the first major story that we're going to talk about today is what the fuck Stranger Things has been doing the last 2 days and fucking with our heads. I'm sorry, kids. This is going to be a super cursy version of this show. Yesterday... they changed the official Facebook page changed their photo to this really grainy clock face.
Hole?
It looks like a clock face. It could be a hole. It's super grainy, so it's up to interpretation.
Yeah, I thought it was like a hole with somebody, almost like a tunnel or something, and somebody was sitting there
on the side because it's not quite because of like the clock face itself is kind of distorted in one corner kind of thing. But if you really like pan in close, you can actually see it's like 5 minutes after 11 on the clock or something like that, or 5 minutes after 12 or whatever. But the clock is all like the 12's like off center and stuff.
Yeah, see, so I saw it from like over there. So.
Right. So that started yesterday. And then their official Twitter page got on, and it was like an old-timey clock and the upside-down smiley face. And that was it. Was their only tweet yesterday. And then all of the, Netflix UK and Netflix Brazil, and they were all started tagging onto this, and they were all kind of doing the same kind of emoji kind of thing set up. And so tease.
Right.
This morning, we get up, and there is a 35-second tease announcing season 4 of Stranger Things.
Right.
Now, everyone on the planet knew they were going to do a season 4.
Right. I thought it was already a done deal. I didn't know it.
Apparently knew.
Okay.
And so they officially announced that they're going to do a season 4. The trailer itself is showing the Upside Down. And if you do a deep dive into looking at it, the clock face is there. Hopper's cabin is in the back corner behind a tree, but you can see the light in the porch and stuff like that.
Okay.
You see Leaving Hawkins sign that's kind of hanging down.
Right.
Looks like maybe there's a newspaper there.
Yep.
And it does the dun 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 with the Stranger Things, and then it says 4, and then that logo that we all have known to come and love and everything changes into the blue kind of hue that you get in the Upside Down, and then everything around it starts growing the vines like they did during the season and stuff.
And then the tagline is, "We're not in Hawkins anymore."
We're not in Hawkins anymore. Toto, we're not in Hawkins anymore. They didn't do Toto. I wish they would have done Toto. Because of the rain down in Africa. But the conversation here is, oh my God, they didn't have a season 4 already. Like the Duffers have always said they had a 4-season arc.
Yeah.
And everybody knew that this was, like, they left it on the cliffhanger. So I mean,
Right.
And
But again, assumed that it was already a done deal.
But so if we have this and we know we're not in Hawkins, we've done Christmas, we've done Halloween, and we've done 4th of July.
Right.
So, what holiday would you like them to cover?
Well, so they said when the season
They have not said when the season is. That's why I'm asking.
drops? Okay.
This opens up to the entire calendar.
Right. Well, and I think I jokingly said Valentine's Day, like at the end of the last season, but now that's too short, right?
He does, Mike and 11 do talk about something about Thanksgiving, about 11 and the buyers coming back for Thanksgiving and spending Thanksgiving with Mike's family and
Everybody,
stuff.
yeah. So that would work.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Hopper is stuck in Russia.
In Russia, and the Upside Down evaporated. If you watch David Harbour's Instagram page, he's been dropping all kinds of cryptic hints. Everybody thinks it's Stranger Things based. I don't know, but if you add what he's been doing and what happened yesterday and this,
Well, my theory is he's the one in the
the
cell.
American in the
in the cell.
Spoilers for season 3 of Stranger Things.
If you haven't watched it multiple times by now,
by meow.
By meow.
The other question is, if we don't know a time period, are they going to go? I mean, the most logical step is them to go to Indianapolis or Chicago.
Right. So they went to Chicago.
So they go to Chicago
for when 11 meets her
9.
other 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's interesting because that was probably one of the least well received episodes.
Yes. I liked that episode, but that it took me a couple of times of watching it to kind of understand what was going on. But
it's okay. Not my favorite.
Yeah.
We could skip it when it comes up. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like we're not in Hawkins anymore. So did they mean Upside Down? Are we in Chicago, Indianapolis, Toledo, Detroit? stuff that's going to make them easy to come back to Hawkins because something's going to happen in Hawkins, obviously. And then the time period of the year, which will be important and kind of the setup and everything.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if they're coming back for Thanksgiving or for the holidays or whatever, then it has to start there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like
Maybe wherever it is.
mid-November, and they're like making the plans to come home, and then like something happens, and
Maybe wherever Will and Joyce and them went, they come home and then stuff is happening where they went. It's following Will around.
It'd be interesting too because each season has its own kind of inspiration, like what the first season was kind of E.T. and kind of stuff. So if you have this group who's left Hawkins, who's left Derry, and they start to forget, and then they come home,
and they come back, and all of a
stuff,
sudden they remember.
Stuff kind of starts happening. It was just something that popped in my head earlier today, and I'm like, that would be a great story arc, especially since Finn's in it, and it would just
and I think the mini series that was on TV was in the 80s.
I want to say 88, but that it as a book was out, and they've talked about how Stephen King is a huge
70s.
The Duffers have talked about how big of a influence he was on them. So I think that I don't know.
Be fun.
Let the speculation begin. I love this part. I want to talk about 3 con-based things real quick. First, October 12th for returning San Diego Comic-Con people. The sale begins on October 12th. So get all your information set up and everything. That I got that. We all got that email today. But if you're not, haven't checked your email yet today, I'm letting you know. Phoenix Fan Fusion, our local con here, their flash sale for badges is on the 2nd, and they have a 24-hour flash sale, and it is $50 for 4 days. For 24 hours. Which is 900% worth the price of admission.
Well,
there.
and you get
each 4-day pass you get a Thursday buddy pass for free. And they just have to, you have to go. They're not mailing them this year, and they're going back to the badges. Thank God, because the bracelets.
We could put our pins back on our lanyards.
We have to do the deep dive in the storage unit for our lanyards.
Lanyards, yeah.
But we got time. But that flash sale is amazing, and if you're the VIP kind of people, the VIP is $250. You get the buddy passes, you get the mercs, you get special seating in the convention. Merchandise. Merch. Mercs. You get special seating in the panel room. You get front of the line for signings and photos. You get a special line at security, which is almost worth the price of admission right there for that. So all of that, but that flash sale happens October 2nd. So if you are in the Phoenix area or have thought about coming to Phoenix Comic-Con, Phoenix Fan Fusion now, do it. Buy those tickets at $50 for a giant 4-day con. A giant 4-day con.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Is totally worth it. And you buy it now, and then you spread out buying the hotel in a couple of months, and then you save up some money for the con. It totally works out. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was Gallifrey 1, which happens in February. Is Doctor Who only con. We've talked about going the last couple years, and they're making it really, really, really hard to go this year, and not to go this year.
Oh, okay.
They announced Colin Baker, who's going to be there, and they announced Christopher Eccleston.
Oh, so it was Christopher Eccleston.
Yes, that was the big surprise, big get. They've been promoting something. Christopher last year went to the last calendar year went to the, what do they call it? The England film and television convention. It's their like fan fusion, and it's held in London. I think it's the London Film and but it's not just comic based stuff. It's
Right, but like a bunch of the doctor, like all of
the living
current-
doctors were there.
Yeah.
And they made a point of they got all the doctors there, and they asked Eccleston to be there, and that was his first like big con that I think that he'd ever done or had not done in a really long time.
Yeah.
And over that time period, he's been going to more and more. Now, he was at Rose City a couple of weeks ago and talked about his book, talked about his anxiety that he had while he was filming Doctor Who and stuff like that. And he's going to be at New York Comic Con this weekend. But Gallifrey 1, a very small con in the grand scheme of things, getting someone like him to come is it's a huge get.
Yeah.
And I just being in a small Doctor Who only con with other Whovians, and it's, everybody parties, the entire con's there in one hotel. So it's one hotel or the hotel next door, everything's there. You all party together, you all eat together, that kind of thing. And it's just like, that would be a lot of fun. Our Phoenix Con I love it. It's amazing, but it's spread out over 5 hotels.
Yeah.
Where everybody stays, and then the convention center is 3 stories and 2 buildings, and there's stuff.
You rarely run into the same person unless you specifically are trying to hook up or whatever.
Right.
Like we'll have friends everywhere, and we never see them the whole time we're there.
We've had entire cons where we've seen nobody, and then we've had entire cons where we run into the same 3 people because we're just walking the floors at the same time in opposite directions, and it just works out. But those, I mean, San Diego Comic Con, it's freaking October, and they're already talking about it, which is weird. But the passes, I mean, it makes sense. Gallifrey 1, that's a big get for them, and ours is a big deal. I mentioned New York Comic Con. We're going to do, there should be some stuff to come out of that, some trailers and panels and news and stuff like that. So we will be covering that from the couch and engage CouchCon.
#CouchCon.
So we'll look out for all that stuff. The last thing I want to talk about before we go into the break is these posters from the Birds of Prey and the Great Immaculation of the Harley Quinn Smith and the guy who used to be known as the longest title ever. The Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Immaculation of one Miss Harley Quinn.
Emancipation.
What did I say?
Immaculation. I don't think that's a word.
I said word in my mouth. So these posters came out today.
Okay.
And they're calling them, we're looking at them. Maybe I'll post them, whatever. Okay, first, to shorten the giant title, they're calling them BOP HQ.
Okay.
Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Every one of these posters has BOP HQ on them.
Yeah.
And they're all like super bright neon colors.
Yeah.
And look at me, and they're gonna be so different than everything else is gonna be in the movie theater. So you're gonna walk by and you're like, what is this movie? And why is it so like bright and stuff?
Definitely.
And we're supposed to be getting a trailer tomorrow.
Oh.
So we've gotten some stuff, some teaser stuff, but we should be getting a trailer tomorrow. Is this something you're interested in?
Nah, we'll go see it. It's not like huge on my radar, but whatever. We'll go see it.
Yeah, I really like Margot Robbie. I
Yeah.
like her in this character. I'm really.
I mean, I haven't seen anything, so there's nothing to get excited about yet.
There
right?
was that thing in front of it where she popped the balloons and says, "I'm so
Well,
over
yeah, but that
clowns."
has nothing to do with the movie.
Well, and there was like just shots of stuff. It's like flashy lights, and that was like there was nothing really.
Yeah.
And Ewan McGregor's in it, so we have to go see it. But the posters themselves are as batshit crazy as you expect them to be for Harley, for a Harley thing.
Right.
Oh, I forgot about this one. I wanted to talk about this one. We've seen this trailer. Castle Rock season 2 is coming.
Yep.
Lizzie Kaplan is just gonna. It's just misery this year. Like that's the story. I don't ever.
What happened?
I don't know. If my mic went out, guys, I'm sorry. It's fine in my ears now, but it popped in and out.
Not mine.
No, yours out.
It's crackling.
Is it crackling? Wow, that's awesome. All right, we're gonna go to break. Castle Rock season 2. We're gonna watch it. We'll do a review. We're gonna go to break and figure out what's going on with the microphones. We'll be right back. Hello, cult members. Like what you've heard on this podcast? Then please subscribe and follow us here. You can also find us on Facebook at the Pop Culture Cult. We're on Instagram at PopCultureCult1, and we're on Twitter at Pop_Cult1. We're also on YouTube at PopCultureCult and on the Stardust app under PopCultureCult. Please help us by liking, following, and subscribing to everything we have. This helps us build a bigger and better cult of pop culture. And we're back. To prove with undeniable truth, I touched nothing, and the computer decided to start doing something else.
It did.
Just proving that it can die in a grease fire. Eat a giant D. All right, let's get into the Kevin Feige is master and commander of the entire world.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with the first story we got last week was Kevin Feige is going to develop a new movie and produce it with Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
For Lucasfilm and Star Wars. It will be a Star Wars movie within the new canon. And that's all we know. He's producing it. It's his idea. He's doing it with Kathleen Kennedy. And Josh and I are going to do a deep dive on what this all could mean and everything on the Rebel Files tomorrow. But this was kind of the start of the week as we know Kevin taking over the world.
Okay.
Knowing that Kevin's a huge Star Wars fan,
right,
and everything, are you surprised by this at all?
No.
Okay. Neither was I. I was surprised that there are no other details, like he's helping Rian Johnson with his trilogy, and they're working on it together, or he's doing a Benioff and Weiss thing, or he's doing a Star Wars story, a standalone Star Wars story. There was no other details, so the wild speculation has gone full bore.
Right. Well, I don't. First of all, that's smart, right? You don't.
Right.
Let everybody talk about it for a while.
Right.
Drop something else. Let everybody talk about it for a while. And two, Disney Plus has hit the mainstream starting with football on Sunday. There were actual Disney Plus commercials on TV. So I think they probably don't want to take away from that or to saturate the.
And we've got November. Like everything drops in November. Force Friday is this Friday, but like Disney Plus drops, Mandalorian drops. You get all the Star Wars books. You get the new Star Wars game. You get all the Star Wars stuff.
And then the movie is in
December.
So I mean, I don't see them saying much more than that until after the first of the year.
Oh boy, do I hope we get in the lottery for the panel for the futures panel that we're going to get at Celebration next year.
Yeah,
because they're going to announce all kinds of poo next year at Celebration.
That will be.
Especially knowing that right now we're getting Mandalorian season 2, Kenobi, Cassian, Rogue 0.5. They need to come up with a name of that series, or we're just going to start naming it Rogue 0.5.
K2S Cassian
and K2 Canassian.
You can't ship them.
I could do whatever I want. It's my fucking show. But the other speculation that came out of this is there has been small, credible rumors floating around that Disney wants to give Lucasfilm to Fiege. Kathleen Kennedy's has got a 2-year contract that's up at 2021 or 2022, something like that. And this could be let her go out finishing with The Rise of Skywalker, have Kevin come in and do a movie with them together, and then they can transition him into the head of Lucasfilm.
Yes, please.
And out of the MCU.
Right.
And he's been grooming a couple people to be his replacements over the last few years.
Right.
So that rumor has been around for a while before this announcement even happened.
Right. Well, I mean, if you think about it, Star Wars is the original Avengers, right?
Right. Right.
They were the first ones to kind of take this and kind of half-ass and started in the middle and then went backwards and then came forwards and
right.
But
because timey-wimey.
Well, because nobody knew in 1976 that this was going to be
right,
a thing.
Right.
But the original kind of long form story over multiple movies that kind of all tie in together. So I mean and that was Kevin's kind of vision with the Avengers. So why not let him? That would be amazing.
And he's talked about using Star Wars as an example and as a blueprint to what they're doing in the MCU. So he's looked at like the logo, the Marvel Studios and the IO turned into 10 is like straight out from Star Wars and Lucasfilm. Like it's just like
how the Lucasfilm was.
Yeah. He said, I took this from Lucasfilm and Disney or from Star Wars and stuff. So the idea of him doing this, the idea of him taking over, possibly a few years down the line, and he wants to, maybe do something else because what's going to happen next is all the things. Friday morning, I stopped at an estate sale because that's what you do on Fridays, and I got the best deal of the century. I got a freaking 8 DVD Blu-ray edition of Harry Potter.
It's 11 DVDs.
11 DVDs. Excuse me. It's 8 movies and 3 discs of extras.
Yep. Unopened.
Unopened for $3 because of state sales. So I'm doing that and my phone explodes. Sony and Disney kiss and made up.
Yep.
And are going to do at least one, I have heard 2, Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man. With the first one coming in 2021. Okay. And they will be an MCU Spider-Man connective tissue thing.
Okay.
Now, this was after, on I believe it was Wednesday, Sony released, here's all the stuff in the Spider-Man universe that we're talking about doing. And Sinister Six was on there. Kraven the Hunter was on there. Venom 2 was on there. Like a lot of stuff that we knew that was on there. That they Into the Spider-Verse 2 was in there.
Oh.
All kinds of stuff. And then some other things. Madam Web is in there. I had to actually learn about Madam Web because I just didn't read that in a comic.
Yeah,
and I didn't watch the cartoon. She is kind of a soothsayer or whatever, but one of her abilities from the cartoon that they put in the comics later is her ability to put somebody into the multiverse.
Oh,
so
that's handy.
That's right. And so they're developing. Developing can mean they put something on paper and said, well, this is a good idea. Maybe we can throw it in a different movie, a Madam Web kind of idea. But with this announcement saying that Sony and Marvel are working together again, one of the reasons that Sony gave that they weren't going to go forward was Kevin Feige was too busy to produce it.
Okay.
to be the creative force behind the story group and everything like that.
Okay.
Now, I have not heard, seen, read anything where that was actually a true statement that Sony said, but everybody ran with that. It's like when
Of
legend
course.
becomes print,
Right.
or when the legend becomes when
Print the legend.
something like that. Good night now. But with that idea that they figured out the money, they figured out the timing and everything, and then one of the other things that everybody has said that is true out of this agreement is that Tom Holland and this Peter Parker will show up in Venom 2.
Okay.
Now, it could just be a cameo, could be an individual scene.
Yeah. Well, everybody expected that to have happened in the last one, and it didn't. So.
And if you believe the rumors, there was a scene that was filmed, and Disney said no because they thought Venom was going to be rated R.
Okay.
And they didn't want their PG-13-ish, young character in a rated R film,
right.
Which makes complete sense. But the idea that they've got this worked out, that's a good thing, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. And Kevin Feige is going to work on it. I'm reading the article.
Potentially work on it
Work
if that
on
was
it.
part of the problem.
Yes. So we have that going on, which was a huge freaking story.
Yeah.
And then today, a story came out and everybody ran with it, and it's not necessarily new story, but it's a confirmed story.
Okay.
That with the Disney Plus stuff coming, and the trying to get everything under one roof concept that's going on.
Yeah.
That Marvel TV Studios is being pushed out. The guy who runs the Marvel TV stuff is being pushed out. So he did the Defenders, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Runaways. He did all that stuff.
Right.
He's being pushed out, and everything that is Marvel TV and movie is going under the Marvel Studio Kevin Feige umbrella.
Okay.
So Kevin Feige will be directly involved in all the Disney Plus shows, all the discussions of maybe bringing the Defenders back, on all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So Kevin Feige is running the world. He's doing Star Wars. He's doing Marvel. He's doing Marvel TV. He's shaking babies and kissing hands. I think he's
How
gonna.
does he have time to do anything?
Right. And then I realized, and then the story came out when they were talking about the story. He's 2 years older than I am. What have I done with my life?
My husband had a crisis.
You're the master of two of the universes. Okay, one of the universes. You're to be master of the other universe here in a minute. And okay, so let's talk about we don't know what how the structure of the company is or something like that.
Right.
It's like, Bob Iger's in charge of Disney.
Right.
But he's not making movie decisions, and he's not making decisions in the park, and he's not trying to decide where this tree goes and that.
Right. He's
that
the captain
rock
of the
goes.
ship,
Right.
and they've got a vision moving, and then all these other people make that happen.
Do you think that's what they're doing with Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige?
Well, I don't know, because it just.
He's a creative producer too. So that's
it. To me, it would make more sense, and maybe they decided that this hasn't worked, because I think that maybe was what they were doing with Kathleen Kennedy. But it makes more sense to have the pyramid structure of
corporate
running
building.
Yeah. Like Bob Iger's at the top, and then you've got the person who's in charge of Marvel, and the person who's in charge of Star Wars, and the person who's in charge of the animation stuff, and then
Pixar
is but that's different, right? You've got Pixar, and then you've got
Disney Animation.
like kind of the Bambi's a bad example because that's a really old movie, but some of the newer stuff, How to Train Your Dragon, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then the person who's in charge of the parks and whatever.
Right.
This is starting to. I don't know how he would have time to do both.
Yeah, I'm struggling with if what I'm really struggling with at this current moment is I love what he's done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I love the idea of being able to bring in a lot of the other characters from the Fox deal with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and all that stuff. And, we all really secretly, because there wasn't enough characters in Infinity War Endgame, we really wanted to see the Defenders. We really wanted to see, Doctor Strange is like the head of the Defenders in New York. And it would be really easy to have them show up at the Sanctum Sanctorum. And
well,
at
it's
one
very
point,
comic booky, right?
Right.
People would show up in each other's.
It's very easy to do crossovers in comics. It's really hard to do it elsewhere.
Yeah.
But like the Runaways have dealings with with a bunch of the other characters, within the comics, and they're doing the crossover with Cloak and Dagger this year, which they have a whole comic, like they have a whole run of a comic where they're all together. Teens dealing with
the Runaways and Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah. Actually, their crossover this year could be really interesting. That's coming in December because we don't have anything else to watch in December, like the ocean go by. But this Kevin Feige doing all of this stuff, transitioning into a more of a overall leadership position, I think is maybe what this kind of signifies, but not knowing, like, they're kind of scarce, like we talked about on the details. So it's kind of hard to sit there and say that this is really what they're doing. But I trust what Marvel is doing with Phase 4 going forward, because there's been nothing in that they've done already that has made me mad or upset.
Yeah.
The Star Wars side, okay, I get that. If you're going to move Kevin out, phase him out of Phase 4, Phase 5, and have somebody else come in and run it, and you phase him into Star Wars, you're instantly going to get credibility with the Star Wars fans.
Right.
Star Wars fans are going to say, oh, look what you did. You had all this continuity, and you did all this stuff where everything's connected, and you had the same directors do your 4 biggest movies, and you also, with Kevin, you allow your creators to be creative within the story purpose.
Yes.
And I think that's the one thing, as much as I love Last Jedi, as much as I love Solo, Rogue One's my favorite Star Wars story, favorite Star Wars movie. Having an overall story arc that is Star Wars, and having somebody say, here's the story group, here's where we're going, and you go get Kenneth Branagh to come in and say, okay, do what you want to do in this sandbox.
Yeah, so do the Avengers treatment to Star Wars. Like I said, it was hard to do with the Skywalker saga because it started in the middle and then went backwards and then went forwards, and over...
Because Lucas doesn't understand time.
30, 40 years. Well... No, again, it was because the original came out, 40 years ago when nobody knew that it was even going to be a thing. To start fresh after the Skywalker saga is over, that's fine. I would be super excited about that. I would also be super excited if he was going to stay on and continue to run the Marvel stuff, moving forward. It feels like both is too much. So we will, I guess, because the Star Wars thing isn't confirmed. That's a rumor. I mean, he's
doing the movie with
right? Kathleen Kennedy, but as far as him taking over, that's all rumor and speculation. So that just seems, like he would be spread too thin, and I would be afraid that it wouldn't work out.
I have to do a deep dive on who his executive
Padawans.
Producers are, his underlings, his
Padawans.
Padawans. Yeah. I was trying to think of a different word than that, but Padawans totally works. I'm wondering, like, I've heard the names, but I don't know them off the top of my head and kind of where they are and stuff like that. So if they're going to follow his teachings, if we're going to use the Padawan thing, they're going to follow his teachings, then I have no concern over him being too spread out, because if he trusts them enough to go take care of the Disney Plus stuff and go take care of the the freeform stuff, here's the basic layout for phase 5. I trust you. Go. I'm going to go play in this sandbox for a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe.
And it's not like he's not going to be in the building. He'll be down the hall or the second floor or whatever.
Right.
So
I don't know. It's interesting.
It's
we'll see.
a really cool. This is the cool part of the industry, is watching creative people be creative and putting it all out there and all that kind of stuff. So
and having it and sticking the landing. Which Endgame did.
We're doing the Triple Lindy right now, and if you understand that reference, you're at the right show. All right, that's our show this week, folks. Let us know what you thought about Kevin Feige, or if you are getting Fan Fusion tickets and all that kind of stuff. If the recording has gone bad,
I think it's the program. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll at least be on YouTube. So the whole show will be on YouTube. So we'll let you know. And please like, subscribe, share with your friends, help us on a Patreon, all that jazz. And if I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.